Hi, so in the middle of the year, I did a video in which I read some of the 2023 releases that were on my physical TBR at the time, and I had so much fun doing that, and I thought we'd do that again. Last time I read all of the 2023 releases that I had on my physical TBR. This time I made a selection of the three I am the most excited about, and I can go into the new year without having read yet. And yes, I know you're seeing this in February, but I read these books in December. Just a crazy scheduling month. So yeah, I didn't want to go into 2024 without having read these books. So that's what we're doing today. So the 2 books I will be reading in this video is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. This is the latest installment into the series, and it came out in December, and of course immediately had to read it. So that's a part of this video, and I'm so excited about this one. And another sequel that I'm so excited about is Kin of Greed by Anna Huang, which is the 3rd book in the Kings of Sin series, and I actually read book 2 for that other video that I mentioned earlier, Kin of Bride. And yeah, I also read this book. And then lastly, I read Pride and Prejudice and Pittsburgh by Rachael Lippincott. Rachael Lippincott's book with her wife Alison Derrick, She Gets to Go, was my favorite book of one of my favorite books of last year, I believe, or the year before that. No, last year. And then then I read The Lucky List this year, which is her debut solo book, and I enjoyed that, but I didn't love it. But I was still so excited to read this. This is a contemporary YA with an historical twist, and it sounded right up my alley. So of course this was also one I was dying to read. So yeah, these 3 books are the ones I will be reading in this vlog. I hope you enjoy. Let's go. Hi, how are you doing? I just finished my reread of the first 4 Heartstopper volumes, so I thought I'd give a talk to you. If you want to know my thoughts on these 4 volumes, I did a reading vlog last year, which I reread them all in the anticipation of the first season of the show. So I'll leave that linked up in the eye above so you can go watch that to know my thoughts on these, because honestly I don't think my thoughts have changed that much, but I had such a great time rereading them. But that means we're getting into Heartstopper Volume 5, our new release, our first new release for the video, and I am so nervous to get started in this. I love this cover, but it makes me scared because it looks like they're both sad, you know. They might not be, this might be a lovely cuddle, but I'm scared that this is gonna wreck my heart, so wish me luck. It does seem to be shorter than 4, so that will at least mean my heart won't get back too much. Also, look at him, look at the cutie. Typically on the sides, this is the one with Charlie on it from volume 1, and then volume 3 has the same image. So, and then next they kind of look at each other. But now it's like this, and I think it's so adorable, and it makes me want to volume 6 to come out immediately, because I want to know what Nick's picture is going to look like, if it's gonna be Nick, because if we're switching days up, who knows what else I'm gonna do. But yeah, I am babbling because I'm just too scared to give this a read. This just came out, I'm genuinely filming this on release date. I'm nervous, but we're gonna read this together. Well, I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna come back to you, and hopefully it will be good. So let's get reading. Hi, it is less than an hour later and I already finished Heartstopper Volume 5. Why do these have to pass by so quickly? It seems so unfair. Anyway, this is my annotations for this, which seems my tabs. I also wrote in it, so there's my full annotations, but my tabs, and it feels such a small amount compared to the other volumes. But also this is the first time annotating a Heartstopper volume that I'm reading for the first time. All the other ones I annotated for the first time on reread, so you know, I'm taking a story in still while annotating, and maybe when we read these sticky tabs will follow. But I love this volume. It's a 5-star, just like all of the other volumes. This one was just, I didn't need to be scared. I did tear up at times, but that's partially because I'm still emotional if I'm just rereading volume 4. And also because for some reason, Alice Oseman just wants to make Nick Nelson way too relatable to me. So therefore I just had some tears, because it just came in way harder than it normally would have, because it just feels like so real to me because I'm going through some similar stuff. They're different situations, but like still, I really loved this volume. In this volume, kind of like the two main topics that are being dealt with is Nick and Charlie having sex for the first time, and Nick kind of trying to figure out his future as he is about to start his last year and he has to decide like what he wants to do in the future, like what uni he wants to go to, and if he is up to doing long distance. And those are like the main topics within this volume, and I really loved how the two were discussed, especially Nick and Charlie's first time, and just like the discussions around sex in general in this book. Like in this volume, I felt like it was so, I just, as much as I'm reading Heartstopper as a 22-year-old and not as a teenager, and I'm enjoying it for my own merits, something about me just also appreciates it's something so mainstream for young adults right now. It's just tackling a topic like sex in a way that this book is doing, just how respectful it is of everyone's pace and identities, and like trying, and also like talking about the pressures that are upon kids to have sex and how that's stupid. You should be going at your own pace, and if your partner can agree with that, like they can fuck off. Let's like a side tangent. This has nothing to do with my own personal feelings on this volume. I just thought every topic in here is dealt with brilliantly. I also love seeing Charlie's road to recovery. Like we mainly saw us like recovery stuff in volume 4, but even in this one, you know, it's not immediately fixed once you've gone to like therapy and stuff like that. It's still like something you're constantly working on and like taking steps on, and I really like how that's also just like showcased within this volume. And I love the friend group. They took a bit of a backseat last volume because, you know, it was mainly focused on Charlie's mental health, but I love seeing them together in this and just forming like different connections as well. And yes, I love this. And now I hate myself for reading this so quickly after its release, because now I'm gonna have to wait until volume 6, which I don't want to happen because it means it's over and I don't want it to be over. Hi and welcome to my living room. I don't film from here often, but it happens occasionally. But I'm about to start Game of Greed by Huang, so I thought I'd talk to you because that's the point of this reading vlog. This is the third book in the Kings of Sin series, and I read book 2 in my last 2023 releases vlog, so I thought it only was fitting that I'd read this for this vlog as well. I mean, especially because this is generally one of my most anticipated reads of the second half of the year. Because this is a like marriage and trouble romance, and the two main characters from here have popped up quite a bit in book 1 and 2, and especially in book 2. So I've been really excited to read this book, and yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Hi, so I'm 100 pages into King of Greed. I'm annotating it in case you're wondering, because I annotated the other two books, but I am not vibing with this book right now. Not because it's bad, because it definitely isn't. It's just that I can't with Dominic anymore. Like, oh my god, I don't want to call him stupid. It's not be mean, but like, it's like he gets it, but like he doesn't. You know what I mean? Because he has been explained why exactly his wife wants to divorce him, by his wife, by his best friends, by basically everyone, and he like, it seems like it entered his brain and he's making some steps, but like not the right ones. And in the meantime, it's just a dick. That's all I have to say about him. I don't like him, and I don't know if I am currently rooting for them to get back together, because Vivian seems much better off without him, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so I am 200 pages into King of Greed, which means I only have a little over 100 pages left, and my thoughts on it haven't changed that much. So there's that. I do think at this point in the book, Dominic is less of a dick. He is. I have to give him that. He's not being as assholey as he was in the first 100 pages of this book. But what was still an issue with me is that even though his inner monologue and what he's saying kind of portray that he kind of gets it, he gets what the issue is, he understands it, his actions don't show that. I feel like he very much still feels like he can just throw enough money at it and do like big grand gestures and everything will be fixed, while the problem lies in who he is inherently at the moment. Like, he is just his fixation on money is what the problem is, because as long as he thinks that he needs like millions of dollars to be able to solve his issues that don't require money at all, like it's still gonna keep happening. And that's kind of my issue with this book, is that at this point we are supposed to be on like his redemption arc, I guess you could call it that, but I don't think he is sorry enough about his actions, and I don't think he truly understands the pain he has caused Alessandra over the years, because that's not the vibe I'm getting from him. It's gonna sound so difficult to explain this without fully like giving you in-depth examples, but there is a line in this book in Alessandra's monologue when she's like trying to like convince herself to like not fall for him again, like, well, yeah, there's no problem with her feelings for him. Those have always been present, but like to not get roped in by him again, and I can't find it currently, but she says something along the line of like Dominic just likes winning, like he doesn't like losing, he just, the problem is that he stops caring about the prize as soon as he gets it, like something along those lines. And I feel like that's the feeling, you're perfectly describing my feeling for this book. Like, yeah, he's fighting for you now, but that's because he lost you. He doesn't actually seem to care about like the pain he's caused you and like how miserable you've been over the years. He doesn't seem to fully grasp that. And that's what's bothering me about this book, is that he knows he did wrong and he's trying to, I guess, make things better, but he's not fully understanding the pain he's caused and just how deep Alessandra was all these years. Like, he's not trying to understand that. He's not even making an attempt at doing that. And you can't solve the issues when you don't know just how deep it went, you know? I'm still thinking she's better off without him. And the only reason why I kind of feel like she's falling back is because it's easier to be with someone you've known like for years. Like, you've been married for 10 years at the start of this novel. It's like it's much easier to be with someone that you've known so long and who knows you so well, even if the last couple of years have been like a bit distant. They do still know each other's history and stuff like that. That's easier than like meeting a new person and having to explain all of that again. And I feel like that's kind of the only thing that they have going for them at the moment. Okay, so I finished King of Greeds, and let's first look at the tabs. If you compare this to like my tabs of King of Pride, that's nothing. And that will show you my thoughts on this book, because I ended up giving this 2 stars. I know, I hate it for me too, I genuinely do, but I feel like a lot of the things that I disliked of this book I very much discussed in length, and it definitely doesn't get better. I think Alessandra just took Dominic back because that was the comfortable decision. It was more comfortable to get with someone that you've known for 10 plus years and who you know inside out than it is to, you know, put in the effort of getting to know someone new. That's easier. I get that. I totally understand. But it doesn't fix your issues, especially because I feel like Dominic does no effort to actually change himself. Everything that we see where he kind of is like putting an effort in a way is in function of the relationship. It's not in function of himself, and I guess that's my problem with it, because I kept comparing this book in my head, reading it, to Ever After Always by Chloe Lees, which I read a couple of months ago, and I also wasn't the biggest fan of. But something that I did like in that book is that they wake up. It's a marriage and trouble romance again, but like the trouble is very similar to the marriage and trouble in this book, you know. And what I liked in that book is that we see the guy on his own working on these issues. He goes to therapy, he tries to see where is all rooted from and like trying to solve that issue. And yes, it's all kicked off by his wife wanting to leave him, but he isn't just doing it for the sake of getting this woman back. He's doing it because that's generally a better way to live in a way, and he wants to improve on himself. And yes, if that comes with the benefit of getting his wife back, great, but like he mainly just like wants to improve that part of himself. And I feel like we see Dominic kind of make decisions, but it's always in function of Alessandra and not in function of making himself a better person. So that just makes me feel like he, as soon as we get like 2 years further down the line, he will resort right back to his old ways, because he never actually does something to kind of like get to the root of that problem, why he's overworking himself so much and why he feels that need to be present at work constantly and prioritizes work over his wife. He never like gets to the root of that problem and like tries to solve that. And that's what bothers me the most with this book, is that it feels like it's just a like band-aid put over like a broken bone or something. That's a very bad analogy, but you know what I mean. It's not a proper solution to the problem. And I feel like realistically, if you look at this realistically, down the line, 2 years down the line, like these people are gonna break up for the exact same reason. I'm predicting it. I know it's fiction and it probably will never happen, but I'm just saying, like, if we lived in real life, these two people would break up within like 2 years because the exact same issue, because nothing about that dynamic changed really that much. And yeah, I do think something that could have fixed this book is because they actually do get divorced in a book, which isn't a spoiler, it happens very early on. And I feel like what could have fixed this book for me a little bit is if we got the divorce and had a time jump of like minimum a year, and have them and show that they were really on their own during this years. They did not spend time together at all, barely talked to each other, and worked on themselves in this time period, and then grow together again. I feel like that would have been a more interesting story, because in this sense, like, yeah, they divorced, but like they're never apart, they're always together, because Dominic keeps chasing her constantly, even when he says like, oh, it's fine, I'll leave you alone if that's what you want. Like, he doesn't do that. So I feel like that just, I don't know, I feel like they never got the time to fully grow. Like Alessandra, yes, because we do kind of see her get more involved with like her business and trying to see like different hobbies and figuring out who she is outside of the divorce. But I do feel like it's very limited, because so much of what she does is just constantly with Dominic following her. And it just, I don't know, I feel like this could have gone in so many directions that would have been so much better, and it didn't do any of them. So I started Pride and Prejudice in Pittsburgh, or Anticepated, which is my copy by Rachael Lippincott, and I am only like 30 pages in, not far yet. Just thought I'd give you an update that I'm reading this right now, and you know, I'm really liking it so far. And like I said, I'm not far in at all, but if you don't know what it is about a girl from modern day society who get transported into the past, into this historical romance basically with another girl. It's sapphic, obviously, if you see the cover. So far we haven't done the time traveling part, but we have gotten to, and I'm on the 4th chapter, so I'm not that far in, but like chapter 1 was our modern day character, then chapter 2 our past character, and it's been switching between them. And something I really like so far is that the difference in writing for Lucy, who is our past character, and Audrey was a modern day character, it feels tangible, you know. Because not to say that like Lucy's writing is kind of like more difficult or like more dense, but it does kind of feel more like serious and historical. It has like a very different vibe to Audrey's POV, which feels just very like chill, modern, and it reads very easily, flows nicely, kind of how you're typically reading a YA. So yeah, that's something that I've noticed so far, not being that far in. It's just a difference in writing for the two perspectives. I would almost think this was written by 2 authors instead of just one. You know, each author is writing a different POV, which I love, by the way. I love that those perspectives are so distinct, especially because they are in different time frames. Because I read so many books that are dual POV, where the two POVs are like so similar that you're like, what? I can't distinguish them. So like the fact that just by reading one sentence you can immediately tell the difference between the two, because the vibe is just so different and the writing is so different, I love. Hi, I'm halfway through Pride and Prejudice in Pittsburgh, and I am loving it. Are you kidding me? This book is just so funny, so cute, but also has such depth to it. I am obsessed with it. So basically we follow Audrey, who has always dreamed of going to art school, but she and her ex-boyfriend kind of worked towards it like together, but he's a year older than her, and when he didn't get in, he all became all boo art and like dumped her. And then she got waitlisted as well for her dream school, so she is kind of like in a bit of a slump. And then she receives like this guy in the store she works at, which is a family store, like tossed a coin at her, and she catched it, and then she was transported into the past, and she was found by Lucy, who is the other protagonist, who is just like not living the life. Like, her father is a grade A asshole, and she is set to marry this guy who is like very wealthy but is also much older and is also an asshole. So you know, she's kind of hating everything about her life. And yeah, they very quickly, like, Audrey kind of like tells Lucy the whole deal, and they have a very, very funny first interaction, like that moment where like they first meet and Audrey like realizes she got flashed into the past. It's hilarious. I love it so much. But they kind of figure out that the purpose of Audrey being in the past basically is to find like her true love and find inspiration again. And it is lovely. Like Lucy and Audrey have such great chemistry together, and I love their conversations. And they're hilarious together. I love them so much. And there's also like some depth to this book, because quite a lot of this book so far has been about Audrey like kind of like losing her passion a little bit and like trying to find a way to restore it, and also losing her faith and love. And now it seems like her goal, the only way she gets home, is to fall in love. And then Lucy like has a lot of struggles in life, but mainly has always wanted to fall in love, and now it's kind of looking like she'll never get to, because she's set to marry this guy that she hates. And yeah, I feel like a lot of like the discussions around that are really great, and I love they just like the deep conversations they end up have together, and how they just like inherently understand each other, but despite being from very different times and like not having that much in common, you just like inherently understand each other. And it was so cute. Like, okay, so I finished Pride and Prejudice and Pittsburgh by Rachael Lippincott, and 5 stars easily. This was so good. Everything about this book was just perfection, and I don't know if I have that much more to say than talk about already, but the romance was just perfect. I really loved how they kind of had like this like very easy and funny back and forth with each other. Their banter together was amazing. I also loved, because like I said, the perspectives are like so very distinguishable from each other, but I do feel like as the book continues, you kind of have like different mannerisms, I guess, of one person kind of like slipping into the other person's POV and like stuff like that. And it just shows how they're like falling for each other, and how they are getting along, and how they just like starting to understand each other, and like they do have this inherent understanding of each other, which is just so beautiful to read. And I had a big smile on my face every single time these two characters interacted, or like almost every single time these two characters interacted, because there were some sad moments. And I think this is my favorite romance I've read this year, and I've read so many, but it's just like everything about this couple just like has me going. And then there's so many other aspects to this that I just love, and the side characters are so much fun. It's actually something I really appreciate in this book, is that Audrey has like 3 potential male love interests, and I feel like what I really appreciate about this book is that all 3 of these guys were great guys. Like, they were not villainized, which is something I really liked. And yeah, everything about this was just amazing. And yeah, that's everything I read for this video. A 2 and 2 5s, which I would still deem as a success. Like, honestly, both of these books will make it on my favorites of the year list. I'm already telling you that. You've already seen that. Pre-filming is a different beast, because I am here on December 16th and you're seeing this in February. It's odd. Yeah, these 2 are definitely favorites of the year, and this one is a disappointment, but I still love this series, so that's something. And yeah, that's everything for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these books, if you've read them, as well as some of your most anticipated like 2022 releases, and if you're interested in me potentially doing this in 2024 as well, because I generally really love both of these videos that I did this year. I thought they were a lot of fun, and they helped me get through books that otherwise I might put off too long. Who knows? Yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated? I should have played it cool.